So I've been trying out loading different things on this. I have this old phone and that still has an auxiliary jack and this amplifier. And it loads tapes good. Games mostly work. However, this computer is definitely not perfect. I think there's some issue. One of the most simple things, just trying to type a capital S, it causes it to lose sync. A lot of keys cause it to lose sync, like shift 2. And if I hold it, colors start to corrupt on the screen. Now, I'm not, and the graphics even corrupted. It refreshed the screen, so it fixed that. Oh, actually, oh, I thought it wasn't here, but I think these are just flowers. Yeah, see, it's fine now. And so, when I'm in BASIC, and I just press Shift S, if I type it, like dots start to appear up there, and if I keep typing it, well, it was a lot worse before. See, all these bits on this, all these parts of the screen. Oh, scroll. See, like, this is kind of stuff it would do. Like, it would kind of, memory, I guess, would get corrupted in BASIC, and it would do random things like that. Like, I didn't run anything to make it ask to scroll. And I'll type more, and then Shift 2. I don't know what Shift 2 is supposed to do, but like symbol Shift P, which is an important key for typing or to loading programs, even that causes the screen to mess up. I don't know. I don't know if it has to do with what I did with the keyboard, because as usual, all the keys, or the ribbon on the keyboard, both of them completely broken, and I had to come up with a solution to fix it. And it works for the most part, but this happens, so I'm not sure if it's because of that. Just multiple key combinations, like I'm pressing A and W and it's doing that. O and P, it's fine. And I don't know how the keyboard input works, other than its signals that are connected to the ULA, I think. I think it's the same on the TS-1000. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah, and then it would make that buzzing. This is the kind of stuff that it would do if I messed around with it too much, and like the key combinations that would cause errors. And now when it's in this state, any key I press does this. So I feel like I'm hoping that this isn't a ULA problem, and I'm going to assume it's a marginal RAM, though it's just weird because, like, games, all the programs that I run on this are perfectly fine, so I'm just hoping it's not a ULA problem where multiple key presses make the ULA freak out. And I don't even know if this is like normal behavior for the spectrum. I don't think it's supposed to be corrupting basic and colors in screens. So I have a plan for testing RAM. I'm gonna set up the camera. Okay, so I'm gonna unplug this. Now, I don't believe any of the RAM chips are getting like overly hot. Before they cool down, I'm gonna put my hand on them and then I'm gonna explain what I did with the keyboard. And I'm concerned that what I did with the keyboard may be causing the issues, but I'm just not sure. Now, let's see. No, they all seem fine. And also another thing is that maybe it could be this different RAM chip that I put here. But I don't know. I think that will be the first thing I test because I remembered something that I had. The RAM module for the Timex Sinclair, which I didn't consider, when I was putting in this RAM chip. So, since the TS1000 doesn't seem to work, this could be a good donor for a RAM chip because I believe these have the same RAMs. I don't know why it wouldn't. You know, I wonder if it's the same connector. It has some extra pins. Yeah, there's more pins on the Spectrum, which makes sense, because it's a newer computer. I don't know if anything bad happens if you try to use this. Obviously you wouldn't do anything, because there's already 48K, but it's a little weird. I don't know. But yeah, this isn't for Spectrum, so don't need to use that. However, it can be useful in the way that I can replace, or I think I can use its RAM to put in here. See if the intended type of RAM chip will have any different effect, and if not, I can look for anything marginal with these chips, and I'll be able to actually try piggybacking the RAM, because I wouldn't be able to do that with these, because I don't want to risk pins not touching what they shouldn't touch, because they, you know, 3 different voltages as opposed to the one on the 64s. I think it's like latches on the inside. I've opened this before though, so I'm pretty sure I know what's in here. I don't know why it's hard to open. Do I have something? Yeah, I only have these tweezers. This should be okay. This is hard to open. Like the bottom is fine. Oh, there's more screws. I thought it was latches. There's just different kinds of screws up here. That's embarrassing. Oops. I just completely didn't notice them. They just blended in. Yeah, I remember this. I don't know why they have different screws. Whatever. So, it's 2 PCBs folded over each other. There's logic chips. I think these are multiplexers. There's a lot of logic chips up here actually. There's these grounding clips that are a little broken. But here, there's 4116s. There's ceramic ones too. So my first thought was to use the 4116s in my TI-99 4A that I have, because it uses these chips as well. But they're not socketed, and I want to eventually try to fix that computer. And I just want to leave it alone for now. And this I can't even use, so I might as well repurpose it. So I guess I will take this one, just because it's at the top. Alright. So, let's see. Turn this on. Don't need this on. Alright. So, gonna tin these. And I should turn the fan on. Alright. And I hope that none of these RAM chips went bad, but at least it'll be easy to test because I have a socket and I know that the computer's working enough that I can be able to tell that there's no problem with this if it behaves the same. And then I can put the, if it behaves the same, I can put the 16 or the 64 back in and then use this to jump on top of the other RAM chips and see if they behave weird as well, if they work. Oh, this isn't... Come on. There we go. Might need to use wick on that pin. Alright, let's just didn't do this with the RAM chip I took out of the Spectrum. Wiggle the pins so the solder disconnects a little if it's stuck to them. Let's see if it comes out. Oh, there's one pin that's... yeah, that pin's still got solder on it. I think it's this one. There it is. Nice. Interesting. So this should be fine. It's just a 4116, like on the Spectrum. It's just ceramic. I'm going to verify that all these pins are fine. It's a little weird because I feel like the pins that meant to have voltage on them have like thin traces as well. I don't know why they would. Well, there are thick traces on the bottom, in that corner, which would be pin... that's a this is a 5-volt pin, I think, and then yeah, that's the 5-volt pin. That's the 12-volt pin, and I think that would be the ground pin, and that would be the minus 5 volts. Oh yeah, it has a thick trace here, I think. That would be it. And then they all go up. Yeah, they're 4116, so it should be fine to put this in here. I could clean off the legs before I do that, since it was soldered in, because there isn't any space in there to put sockets. Two boards folded on top of each other. Should be fine. Okay, just put a little isopropyl on it and scrub it. Nice. Good as new. Just wipe this down. Okay. Here, get rid of that. So put that away. So I will first try just putting the original chip in here instead of the bigger capacity RAM. Straightening the chips with the edges of my tweezers. Alright. It's kind of funny. Like, I see repairs and I never see, you know, such an old RAM chip get put in. Or one that looks so old like that. It's ceramic and has a really simple silkscreen on it. So, let's look at the TV and see what happens. I got my composite to component converter so I can use the PAL signals on this TV. In color. And it works. That RAM seems to be fine so far. I'll plug in the keyboard then. Oh, and the keyboard, right. So what I did to try to fix it is I managed to... This was a lot easier. I put in here, there's a bit of this proto board cut up. I soldered wires to it, and then this strain relief piece that screws in here is pressing the carbon of the ribbon against that, so it just stays in there. And as far as I can tell, this works fine. This one was a lot more. There's like 3 layers to this, and they all had to connect, and they did connect before the ribbon broke apart, and I had to use two of these on top of each other to try to clamp down on the ribbon, and the wires go through the holes and solder on both sides of this so that one side clips onto the bottom layer and the other side is clamped onto the top layer, and then hot glue to just keep it from coming apart. And I like glued it together while I pushed it up so it wouldn't slip off here, and it seems to be working fine so far. But the extra Spectrum Plus keys I didn't really show very closely, but like the ones like the quote and the semicolon and the arrow keys, they just, I don't really know if it's normal, but they aren't working. I can hold simple Shift P. I looked at a picture of the original Spectrum for reference, and that works, but sometimes, as you saw, the screen would flicker and lose sync. I get the feeling that might be a ULA problem, not a... I don't know if the RAM would cause that, but I'm gonna plug it in and see if this is still happening with the 16K RAM rather than 64 with the address line jumped high. It's possible that I could have missed one address line, because as far as I could tell, it was the only extra address line. In fact, you know, since I'm just thinking about this now, I'm going to double check. There weren't extra address lines that could be floating and causing problems, because I feel like I would have seen the problems happen. So there are 0 to 6. The only extra one is 7, and you don't get the extra A8 until the 2516, or 256. The 2516 is a ROM chip. So the 4116, the only difference here is the voltages, pretty much, and that extra one was already on 5 volts, so it gets set high. That Atari worked with the original RAM chips, so even with the RAM upgrade module installed, it would still work, but at 64K instead of 256, because there's only 64 installed. So, starts up. Space isn't working. That is an issue with this side of the connector. One of them is a bit loose and doesn't make great contact. There we go, now it's working. Still working? Okay. So, one of the things was Shift S. Yeah, it still does this. Shift 2 as well. Yep, there's a bunch of corruption there. So, seems to be functioning about the same. But yeah, all the Spectrum Plus keys don't seem to work. Sometimes combinations, like I'm pressing quote and left arrow, and it's switching the input mode. I still don't know the input modes of the Sinclair basic yet, but I know the letters signifies the input mode. I think the graph key should be turning it into a G, but it doesn't. And with the redefine keys option in one of the games I tried, pressing all of these extra keys, we're just pressing C. It could have just been the game, though. I don't know why they were all C, though. That was a little weird. Anyway, now I'm going to try removing... I'm going to try putting the 64 back in. And I'm going to try jumping this on each of the RAM chips and see if anything changes or if it stops working with the first one. If there's like, if it doesn't work with the first one, then I'll like quickly turn it off. It's a little harder because this isn't screwed in. Put this in. Also, I folded over the legs a bit, or I like curved the legs a little bit so they wouldn't point straight into the chip on the left and poke through the Captain tape, which seemed like it happened, but it doesn't really seem to matter for pins here because that one's 5 volts and that's nothing. But just to be safe, I curved it away from the tape a little bit so it wouldn't short out. So test the connection, still working. Where's the... Works. Space stopped working again, but if I reposition it, it'll be fine. Shift and some of the keys still messes it up. Now I wonder if this is like... This could be an issue with my... Like, there could be a key that messes with the video signal, and that's, like, there's a true video and invert video key on here. There could be something with my keyboard that's shorted, or with the, you know, fix that I made to the key. Oh, whoops, that just fell out. I'm not sure. So, I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna try jumping this onto the first RAM chip. And they're counting up from right to left, so I'm going to assume that this is byte 0. IC6, yeah. Here we go. So put this on. The legs are different on ceramic chips, so it's a little different to piggyback them on these chips, but that seems to be on good. Alright, let's see if anything weird happens on the screen. Oh. That wasn't good. Okay. There might have been a flaky connection because these legs on the original chips are pretty oxidized, so... I'll try like scraping or like kind of wiggling the chip onto the legs in case they're too oxidized to make contact. And try this. Just like faint lines. So that's probably not working. I don't think the chips get hot or anything though. Still comes up when I take it off. Try putting it on the second chip. The legs aren't the most straight either. Again, I'm gonna like rub the legs together so they break any oxidization that might be there. Try again. Still not quite working. I'm gonna just remove the keyboard until I get it working, and then I'll turn it off and put the keyboard in. So this is what I'm trying to do. I feel like they all are making decent connection. You know, it looks like there's a bit of flux. Kind of, I don't know if this is flux. Or oxidization. Oh yeah, there's definitely tarnish on the top of these legs. It's worse than I thought it was. Obviously they'll work because they're soldered in, but on the top, I don't know how well this is going to work. But I know the chip works. I'm going to try pushing the legs in very slightly. I want to be more careful with these legs than plastic chips, because ceramic chips seem to be a bit more fragile sometimes. Usually when they're the gold chips on ROMs, they could very easily fall off because they're gold. So these should maybe work a little bit better, almost like I'm putting it into a socket. Let's see if that makes a good enough contact. Turn on. Oh, that did it. That did it. Alright, so it was definitely oxidization making bad contact. So I'm wondering now if any of these issues will clear up from the marginal ones with the rim that's soldered in. Because I could probe it, but I wouldn't know what I'm looking for, so I won't be able to tell what's anomalous and what's supposed to be. So, one of the things was, yeah, Shift S. It still happens. And it's like, it's very sequential, so that's what makes me think it's a RAM thing. And Oh yeah, see, it totally crashed now. It messed up the color tiles, or the tile colors. That seems to be what it does most of the time. And then sometimes, characters. And I wonder if it's worse now because there's two chips sharing a RAM bank. Oh, you know? Yeah, I see there's like faint dots. Try to scrape it on more. See if it comes up. Yep. Oops. But yeah, Shift S still doesn't work. So I'm gonna try next chip. Whoa. Alright, so I'll try it on what I assume is bit 0 or bit 1. I did bit 0. I'm gonna skip bit 3 because it's the one that has the captain tape on it. And I'll do that last. Again, I'm just scraping the legs with the legs of the chip I'm putting on top. So super tarnished. Alright. That works. Cool. And the first column is a bit flaky. There it goes. Now it's working. And then Shift S. Yeah, still messes up. There's dots. So it wasn't that one. Taking this off. And I'll put it on this one. And of course, this could be like a bit ends up getting driven really low or really high and prevents the chip on top from working. We have no idea. But this could fix it some. It is possible that this could fix it if it is a RAM issue. I'm only guessing because it's kind of looks like it to me. So let's see if this works. Don't really need it zoomed out. So there's no dots. Sinclair Research. Shift S still causes these dots to show up. And they're different colors, see? I wonder if they're the colon. I don't know which key is colon, because... Oh wait, this... No, they're not colon. There might be just some graphics data, or character data that's being written to memory or something, I don't know. Not a built-in graphics character. Alright, let's try number 5. That might not work. Let's see. Oop. Oh, yeah, it didn't work. Let's try one more time. No, just flickers. Alright. I'll do a bit more scraping. Because if one pin isn't making good contact, then the whole RAM chip is going to get confused and screw up that data bit with the pins that are connected. Alright, there we go. So, lowercase is working, Shift S still does that. And these look the same. Yeah, see, this is one of the things. It would just like print, it would list a bunch of the text data that's in the basic ROM. All the basic commands, the Sinclair copyright. Almost seems like it's shorting something because it's causing the... Oh, well, look! I'm pressing Shift S and it's not doing it anymore. I don't know if the keyboard came off. No, it's still connected. See if I see any other things happen. Oh, look. That might... There's like flickering lines, and that might be just the RAM chip being connected. I feel like I haven't seen that happen unless it was in a game running. Anyway, it's probably not that chip. Bit 6. This could totally be one of the 32K RAMs, but none of them get warm. I don't know. Alright. So I got that on. And turn it on. If I can find the connector. Nope. Whoa. Yeah, it's not working. Come on. Oh. Nope. Still not working. It was getting to the Sinclair screen, but it wasn't printing the copyright. Alright. Let's see. Whoa. You know, it keeps doing stuff like this. I wonder if it could be this chip. I'm not sure. Let me turn it on to see if it's still functioning without any RAM chips jumped in. Nope. It says it Sinclair. Try one more time. Bit 6. It's still throwing garbage on bit 6 with this jumped on it. Why are the loading bars showing up? What? I'm not loading a tape. What's it doing? That's weird. Oh! Now it works. But yeah, this is probably... Ugh, crashed. Yeah, it's probably just the oxidization on this chip. I doubt it's... Well, I mean, it's not impossible that it could be messing it up. Since that did something closer to functioning. I'm going to keep going at it, or one more time, since it might be closer to working. Try that. Nope. It's faint dots. Alright. So, I guess maybe that could mean that that chip is throwing out data that's conflicting with the data that the good chip is trying to send. I don't know. I did that pretty lightly, so I don't know if this is gonna work. No. Here's the last one, bit 8, or bit 7, the 8th chip. This one is pretty oxidized, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to make good contact on this one. I'm going to try. Yeah, that's the annoying thing with these. Apparently their legs are made of silver, so that's why they tarnish like this. And they stopped using silver because that is a little silly. Aluminum is probably just fine. Alright. See what that does. And this is... Oh yeah. There we go. Oh, it reset. Usually doesn't just do a straightforward reset like that. Yeah, it's still functioning similar. All these dots, or like the patterns of colors, and then these 2 dot characters. I'm going to try putting it on bit 6 again, since I already scripted a bit already. And keep going. And it's making me suspect this chip because it's the only one that's behaving like this. But I will probably be proven wrong if it works from this attempt. But if it doesn't, I'm pretty suspicious of it. And wow, that is completely different. I'm gonna keep powering it on and see what happens. Nothing. Whoa. Weird colors showing up in the corner. Wow. Oh, it tried to load a tape again. I don't even know where it got that data from. That doesn't make sense. There's nothing plugged into the auxiliary jacks. I'm gonna keep trying, and if this like just doesn't do anything different, I'm going to try taking out this chip. Because this is very odd how it's behaving with this chip compared to the other ones. Oh, you know what? It looks like, yeah, one of the voltage pins wasn't making good contact. Wouldn't be surprised if that was it. See the this pin here. This pin on the top left was a little bit folded out slightly, so it wasn't touching it as well as the other pins, I don't think. They should all be sitting on it decent. And let's see. Anything different? It's doing that again. That looks the same. I don't know if that's the oxidization or if that is data outputs or inputs like conflicting with, or conflicting between the two chips. I'm going to double check all the legs are, oh, I think a bit of, is this a bit of tarnish scraped off? What is this? It's a tiny piece of something. Only almost looks like iron. I don't know why it'd be in here. Is this plastic or metal? I'm gonna just test continuity on this tiny little flake, because it could have been sitting on the traces. No, I don't think this thing is conductive. Nope. Zero load, so that's probably nothing. But it was sitting on the traces, which is a little concerning. Brush the concerning. I'm gonna flatten the legs slightly. Make sure they're all even with each other. But not bent too much, because it's a lot easier to bend these legs than plastic chips again, I think. And like these legs are like the least oxidized of all the pins, all the chips here. So I don't know why, if it is oxidization, why there is no contact here. Alright, this is the last attempt. If it says that Sinclair research with corrupted text again, nope, it's perfectly fine. It was just contacts, I think. Oh, but it crashed. It wasn't crashing. Well, now it looks the same. So, if the RAM is all good, it is behaving yeah, it's behaving identically, so it was just the contacts on that. Oh well. Oh, right, there's this one under the Captain tape. Forgot. This one is probably going to be a lot harder to do, but I could also just kind of say, whatever, it's probably not the contacts, or it's probably not the RAMs. They all seem fine. But I will probably, just since I have this out, put it in here. Just because it's the chip that's meant to be here. So, there we go. And I guess one thing that I can test, I think these are all, are these all diodes? These are kind of weird looking for diodes, but I think they are. So, I can test them, make sure they're working. Point 0.6, 0.6, 0.6, 0.6, 0.6. No, other side. 0.6. So yeah, I think all these diodes are fine. Huh. Well, only other thing I can really think of doing is trying to adjust the ULA again. I wonder if different bits will end up happening. Or if different, like, effects will happen from adjusting this in the socket. This is it's very tight is the problem, so it's not easy to, there we go. But yeah, it is a single wipe socket, so that could be a problem. I'm going to spray them again. Alright, that should be fine. Yep. Alright. Should be okay. But, oh. Come on. There we go. Alright. That's in. So, check this. Yeah, still happens. I don't know. Very odd. I'm a little worried that it is something to do with the keyboard, but like I can check continuity between like these. Oh, and it like touching them with probes does that for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, none of them are like stuck together. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like, tapping this will... This is the first column pin. It's typing like A's, 1's, and spaces. This is also typing space and A and 1. Tapping the second one doesn't seem to do anything. Or the third one. The fourth one doesn't do anything. And the fifth one doesn't. It's just the first two are doing this. Tapping the... Does it matter to the probe I'm using? I was using the red one. I'm tapping the black one. Shouldn't matter on continuity. Yeah, see, I'm tapping with the black one on column 1, and it's still doing that. I'm going to try... I'm going to take a look with the scope to see what the pins on the column lines even look like. So scope is there. I can probably clip to this, right? This is probably ground. Just careful because there's an exposed trace for probably a voltage. There is some noise. This is an AC. I have to change it to DC. Zoom it out. One volt, and this is like floating at 2.4. That's 2.4. This is floating at 5. That's floating at 5, and that, and that. Is this meant to be floating at 2.5? That seems weird. That could be the problem. None of these are floating. Well, all these are 0 volts. And all these are at 5 volts. Which makes sense. And if I press a key, if I press space, oh, it's a serial signal, huh? Space is on the first column. And that must be the serial data on that pin of the... Oh, if I probe it, it goes away. What's another key on the first column. I have a lot of the rows and columns half memorized because I was looking at a picture of them a lot. I think A is on column 1. Yeah, it is. See, there's like data on this pin. But if I press a different key like Z, yeah, that's not normal. This can't be normal. Okay. I'm going to stop recording, but I think I figured out it might be a component on the board that's pulling it like to half the voltage it's supposed to be, and that might be causing issues. In fact, I'm going to type like shift 2 and see what happens. It's going to be kind of difficult too, though. I'm going to put this up. Shift, or not shift, well yeah, shift 2, but shift S is easier for me to reach. Oh my, it's already corrupting on screen, and it reset. So, shift is on a different column, and I don't remember what S is on, so I have to kind of look for it. Alright, be careful that this doesn't fall off. Alright. So, it's floating. Oh, holding shift. Shift is on column 1. S is on column 2. There's noise on the other pins, but that's fine. See, let's take a look at the video signal. I'm trying to think what might the video signal be going through. I'm gonna probe these resistors. Oop. That might be like something to do with the color. Here's the sync. Here's inverted sync. Oh shit. Weird. But yeah, I don't see it. I don't really... It's going so fast that it probably wouldn't show up. But like when I'm holding it, and it freaks out, this video signal seems fine. So I don't really know what's causing sync to like break. I think this is the full finished signal, or before it gets to the amp. Actually, there might not... Oh, this might just be one color. But there's sync, so I don't... I'm just guessing here, so... The peaks would be values... Whoa, oops. The peaks would be values at the actual video signal, because it's inverted here. But I can see there's luma data. I can't tell if there's color burst, though, so this is probably just either B minus Y or R minus Y, and there's just sync on here anyway.